Good afternoon. I'm not dressed so rebbish today. I'm wearing just a plain calato because it's casual Fridays at work. Still wearing a longer ekel though. Despite what Jewish life, I don't know what his name says. Anyway, a lot of people have been asking me, "Whoa, is that a paraduma?" No, I don't think so. Anyway, a lot of people have been asking me. It's not a para anymore, I can see. Anyway, a lot of people have been asking with these different laws that have been coming out on two opposite extremes as far as abortion. What is the Jewish view on abortion? Is Judaism pro-choice? Is Judaism pro-life? And, some people have tried to claim Judaism is neither pro-choice or pro-life. That's a difficult thing to say. And the answer is Judaism is pro-life, but whose life? Judaism is definitely not pro-choice. Judaism doesn't really view abortion as a choice. But there are certain times when abortion would be required. Meaning you don't have a choice when the mother's life is in danger and the baby has not been born yet. There is no choice. You have to do whatever you can do to save the mother's life. Now that's not a choice of abortion. It's not an issue of abortion. It's an issue of saving the mother's life. It's not a pro-abortion stance. It really has nothing to do with abortion. The abortion is secondary to saving the mother's life. But a lot of people misunderstand that as well. And they think that, what the scare tactics a lot of people say is, well, if you outlaw abortion, then when the life is in danger, they're not going to save the mother's life. And the truth is, there are different religions that have different views on this question of whether one may save the mother's life. But you also have to recognize that is exceedingly, exceedingly rare with today's medicine, that an abortion would be absolutely necessary to save the mother's life. If we understand this question to be a question of, a physical threat to the mother's life. But let's go through the sources first, and then we can go through the opinions that come later. The sources, the first source that we can point to is we really have to look at that there's two covenants to deal with. There's a Mosaic covenant and a Noahide covenant. And it would seem that the Noahide covenant is stricter than the Mosaic covenant in this regard. That would certainly seem to be the way that the rabbis would seem to be interpreting this. That the Mosaic covenant does allow abortion to save the mother's life, and it would seem that the Noahide covenant does not. Another possibility, though, more than that, is that the Mosaic covenant does not see, and many Christians speak about dispensationalism. There are different dispensations, and so there's an Adamic covenant, a Noahide covenant, a Mosaic covenant. They might speak of the Davidic covenant and so forth, and then these ideas, Maimonides certainly has the view that there's the covenant of Adam, the covenant of Noah, the covenant of Abraham, covenant of, not exactly a covenant, but somewhat of a covenant like Jacob, and then the Mosaic covenant is the final covenant. That's a national covenant. The Davidic covenent is not really a major aspect of it, or there's some aspects to it that Maimonides does see legally, but it's separate from those others, and it's different than those others. But it's not a covenant that adds new laws the way the Mosaic covenant is the final covenant that adds new laws, and those laws are neither added to nor subtracted from. However, they apply parochially to those who are under that covenant, to those of the Mosaic persuasion, as opposed to those who are, who are not under that covenant, who are, as all other people are under the Noahide covenant. And they're separate covenants, meaning the Mosaic covenant removed the Israelites from the Noahide covenant, meaning the Abrahamic covenant maintained our identity with the Noahide covenant and merely added to it, whereas the Noahide covenant removed us from the Noahide covenant and replaced the Noahide covenant. And that means that there are different, even though the laws are the same, the punishments are different, is one major aspect. And so let's look first at what's more clear, and although not 100% clear, but it's definitely clearer than the question of the Noahide covenant, is this issue of the Mosaic covenant. In the book of Exodus, we have a case where, and I believe it's Exodus 21 or Exodus 22. It could be totally off. It could be somewhere in Deuteronomy. Pretty sure it's in Exodus 21, 22, in Parshas Mishpatim. There's a case where two men are fighting, and a pregnant woman comes between them, and she miscarries. That seems to be the pshat. That seems to be how we translate this verse, is that she miscarries and loses her baby. I've seen some Christian commentators who make an interesting argument. We could even say a good argument, but it's not our argument, that it's actually talking about a premature birth. The issue with that is, how do we adjudicate such a case? But with that being said, if the woman miscarries due to an accident caused by another human being, not talking about an abortion that was committed on purpose, rather an abortion that was committed by accident. And against the woman's will. So it's not an issue of choice here. But how do we compare it to other issues, biblically speaking? So biblically speaking, if someone commits unintentional manslaughter, they kill a person by accident. They kill someone on purpose, it's a capital offense. They kill someone by accident. They go to Ir Miklat. They go to cities of refuge. And this is in the books of Numbers and Deuteronomy. They go to cities of refuge. Now the question is, so what about this case where they accidentally caused a miscarriage? They don't go to the city of refuge. Instead, they have to pay monetary restitution, the same that they would have to if they, wounded another person, put out their eye, cut off their arm, something like that. And so it seems obvious from here that, scripturally speaking, a fetus is considered part of a woman's body, a limb. Now the thing is, you're not allowed to cut off a limb just for fun, just for convenience, just because you feel like it. The only exception is that we're obligated to cut off the foreskin, but no other limb can just be, you can't just cut off your finger because you feel like it. Now, but if the finger is gangrene and it's going to kill you, you have no choice, you have to amputate. And so you're not allowed to simply have an abortion just for no good reason. But if you have to amputate, you have to amputate. And that's pretty much what it seems from the rabbinical text and so forth. However, the Talmud also points out, as we discussed the Noahide covenant, and this one is not as obvious, but it says, in the book of Genesis, I guess it would probably be Genesis 9 or 10, somewhere after the flood, it says that he who sheds the blood of a human in a human, his blood will be shed. And this term, Shefech Dam Adam Ba'adam, the Gemara in Sanhedrin understands to mean that it's Dam Adam Ba'adam means a human in a human, and what is a human in a human, inside of a human, is is a fetus in his mother's womb. So his or her mother's womb. So therefore, and that seems to indicate that this is a capital offense under the 7 laws of Noah. Meaning, someone who commits an abortion who is not Jewish would be liable to, depends on who you ask. According to Maimonides, he's liable to the death penalty, and according to other medieval authorities, understand it to mean that up to and including death penalty, but it could be a lesser restitution if the court decides, and it's up to the courts to decide, meaning the courts have the right up to and including the death penalty, but they could impose a different punishment instead for such a crime. Now, again, it doesn't seem to be indicating this question of the mother's choice is just something that happened, And so it seems that for the Jew, if somebody accidentally commits an abortion, it's not considered on the level of murder, but for the Gentile it is. Now, I know that's very offensive to a lot of people. But that's just the halacha. That's how Jewish law approaches this. So the Mishnah, in Ahalos, don't remember, discusses this question of a woman who was, about to give birth, and she's in labor, she's dilating. This has been the question that's been brought up recently. How late can one perform an abortion? And so we're talking about a late-term abortion. And the answer that the rabbis give is that if the baby has not been born yet, the mother's life comes first. If more than half the body came out, or if simply the head came out, then they are equals, and one may not murder the child to save the mother's life. It's whoever, not one's blood is greater than the other's, is the term that the sages would use in this terminology. But meaning, as soon as the head comes out, the baby is fully human, and before that, it's a limb of the mother. Meaning, they're both. I mean, it's still human. It's a human limb, but it gains the rights of a human being. And the way that they operate with the partial birth abortions, that would be murder according to all opinions. The question now that we will address, though, is what are the practical aspects of some of these other questions? For example, what is considered the mother's life being threatened? But before we get to this, let's look at some other sources, both sources and opinions. So this is something that's like in between a source and not a source. The Zohar, even if, as I believe, it is, as traditionally is believed that it is from the era of the Tanaim. It comes from, at least in its sources, from Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. But there's another issue here, and that is it's a midrash. It's not halacha. It contains ethical teachings and so forth, but it's not necessarily law. We don't paskin like Rabbi Shimon, although there are discussions about that when it comes to the Zohar. And certainly to be strict, one may be strict like the Zohar. Anyway, the Zohar says that in commenting on the stories of Shifra and Puah, where the Pharaoh wanted them to kill the Hebrew babies, and they didn't. And generally, it's understood that was Miriam and Yocheved, the mother and the sister of Moses. Sister and mother of Moses. The Zohar says that they didn't commit the abortions, even though and it was not just abortions. It would seem that it was after the birth. Perhaps it would be murders, and because of that, they were blessed to build houses. And you can imagine the people who were suffering under slavery, and yet they never did such a horrible thing as to kill their own children in the mother's womb. And the Zohar says that one of the reasons why people pray and they're not answered is because they commit abortions. That's what the Zohar says. Now again, the Zohar is midrash, it's Kabbalah, it's not halacha. The next part of this question, let's get into the halachic considerations. There are many different opinions. I know that my holy ancestor, the Chavos Yair, has a famous tshuva where he doesn't say that abortion is allowed, but he says that it's not considered murder, it's considered zera levatala, wasting seed, which is still compared to murder in many texts, but it's not capital murder. Obviously not. In the midrashic sense, it's compared to, but not in the halachic sense. But still a sin. Based on that, the Yavitz has a very interesting tshuva, because we ask now about the cases of rape, abortion, and incest. I mean, rape and incest. And in the Shelis Yavitz, the Yavitz says, Rav Yaakov Emden, he says that actually, he doesn't discuss the issue of rape, but he does discuss the issue of adultery and incest, where he says that to prevent the birth of a mamzer, you're not allowed to kill a mamzer, he's 100% human, but if he hasn't been born yet, you can prevent the birth of a mamzer. Why? Because if the mother committed a sin that would have led her to have the death penalty, we wouldn't wait till she gives birth. So therefore, the child would be killed as well. And so today we don't have the death penalty, but it would seem it would be, theoretically, it would be allowed to take some kind of a medication that would that will cause the mother to miscarry. That's what the Yavitz brings. Reb Moshe, and we get to the modern era, Reb Moshe Feinstein does use the word murder in reference to abortion. He considers it the same as murdering someone who is terminally ill, which wouldn't be a capital murder, but would still be considered murder, because the child it would not be able to survive. Although if it's a viable fetus, then it would even also perhaps considered to be murder. I don't remember the reasons that he brings for that, but there's a whole tshuva from Moshe on this. So the answer is, Judaism is not pro-choice. The way I heard a friend of mine, a conservative rabbi, say, there's someone who learned by Orthodox rabbis. He said, Judaism neither says that all abortions, there's no rabbi who says all abortions are good, and there's no rabbi who says all abortions are prohibited. It's somewhere in the middle. Judaism is certainly pro-life. I remember my friend, the Galach, Father Kowalczyk, who I worked together with, he said that having 6 children is a very pro-life statement. So Judaism is certainly pro-life, but it's pro the mother's life when the mother's life is in danger. Now, there have been some poskim who have discussed, what if the mother is suicidal? Is mental health an issue? Maybe it is. And again, so these are the types of questions we have to leave up to individual poskim. They're not for us to answer. We can only discuss these things, but not poskim. So thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's hope that we don't have to worry about these things. God should have mercy on us, and we shouldn't have to worry about these things. I know so many cases where married couples where the wife just had an abortion, more than one case, and the husband divorced her over this, and he was very brokenhearted about this. And it's not fair, type of thing. So these are certain issues that have to be considered as well. But that's not really a halachic issue, more of a moral and ethical issue. But I know at least 2 cases, people I know personally, who divorced their wives over this. And we have to ask, does this enter into like the molech, where they were sacrificing children in ancient times? Is this culture connected to that somehow spiritually? Yes or no? I know that's a little extreme to say, but a lot of this, what's going on, is rather strange. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment. But so the answer is, and there's nobody making a law against the case where the mother's life is in danger. And a lot of these laws that are happening now are really just for show. They're not meant to be taken seriously, is what I understand. So thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. We'll see you later.